The battlefield and the mark smoke filled the sky. The sound of explosions echoed through the air. Metal clashed, soldiers screamed, and fire lit up the dark battlefield. It was the 5th hour of the battle on planet Zalor. The ground was broken and covered in ash and blood. Jack Mason, a human soldier from Earth, crawled through the wreckage. His armor was cracked and blood dripped from a deep cut on his leg. His gun was gone. He could hardly breathe, and every movement sent pain through his body. He looked around. Bodies, human and alien, lay everywhere. The enemy, tall creatures, with gray-blue skin and glowing eyes, had destroyed almost everything. Jack's unit was gone. His ship had exploded. He was alone now. "Help," he whispered. But no one answered. Suddenly, he heard footsteps. Heavy, strong footsteps coming. Closer. Jack turned his head slowly. 3 alien warriors appeared from the smoke, armed and ready to kill. Their armor was black with red symbols glowing on their chests. They saw Jack. One of them raised his weapon. Jack closed his eyes. He was ready to die. But then, everything stopped. A loud roar came from behind the aliens. A taller figure appeared, walking calmly through fire and smoke. The other aliens stepped back. Even they seemed afraid. She was different. Her armor was silver, shining even in the ash-filled air. Her eyes glowed gold, not red. She didn't speak, but the air around her felt heavy, powerful. She was the queen. The alien warrior queen. Jack had heard stories about her. A leader feared by both humans and aliens. A killer. A legend. The queen raised her hand. The 3 alien soldiers froze. Without a word, she struck them down with glowing energy. They fell, lifeless. Jack stared in shock. She had just killed her own men. Why? She walked towards him, slow and graceful like a predator. Jack tried to move to escape, but his body was too weak. She knelt beside him. Her face was calm, but her eyes studied him like he was more than just a dying soldier. She said something in her language, soft, almost like a song. Jack didn't understand the words, but they made him feel cold and warm at the same time. Then she placed her hand on his chest. A burning pain shot through his body. He screamed. A symbol appeared on his skin, glowing blue. It pulsed like it was alive, like it had chosen him. His heart raced. His body shook. But the queen just watched him quietly, like this was exactly what she wanted. "Why?" Jack whispered. She didn't answer. The pain grew stronger. The world started spinning. Jack's eyes rolled back. Before everything went black, he heard one last whisper, not from her mouth but inside his mind. "You are mine now." He woke up in darkness. He wasn't on the battlefield anymore. He was lying on a soft surface inside some kind of alien room. Strange lights moved across the ceiling. The air smelled like metal and something sweet. Jack sat up quickly, gasping. His body felt different. His leg was healed. His cuts were gone. He looked down and saw the glowing mark still on his chest. It was still pulsing, still alive. He wasn't dead. He wasn't human anymore either. Footsteps again. The door opened. The queen entered. This time she didn't wear her armor. She looked almost human. Her golden eyes met his. Jack stood up slowly. "What did you do to me?" She didn't speak, but he heard her voice in his mind. "I saved you, and now you belong to me." Jack's heart pounded. He didn't know what she meant or what she had done to him, but he could feel it. Something inside him had changed. Forever. Why did she mark me? The alien queen's plan begins. Jack didn't know how long he had been on the alien ship. Time felt strange here. The walls of the room pulsed like they were alive. Soft lights running through them in steady rhythm like a heartbeat. Even the floor was warm, as if the ship itself was breathing. He sat on a strange bed that floated slightly above the ground. His body felt lighter, stronger. His mind, though, was full of noise, memories that weren't his. Images, sounds, faces. He saw a child with golden eyes crying under a red moon. He saw battles that took place centuries ago in distant galaxies. He saw her, the alien queen. Every time he closed his eyes, she was there. The glowing mark on his chest pulsed softly, like it was watching him too, like it was waiting for something. The door opened without a sound. A new figure entered. Not the queen. This one was smaller, older, with gray skin and deep scars on his face. His robe flowed behind him, covered in symbols Jack couldn't understand. The alien spoke in the same musical language, but this time, Jack could almost understand it. "You carry the queen's mark," the alien said. "You are the chosen one. This has not happened for 1,000 years." Jack stood up, confused. "I didn't choose anything. I didn't ask for this." The alien nodded. "The mark chooses, not you." Jack's fists clenched. "What does it want from me?" The alien tilted his head. "To survive." Jack stepped back, suddenly cold. "Survive what?" Before the alien could answer, the walls shifted and opened into a hallway. A quiet sound echoed in the distance. Metal moving, machinery humming, soft whispers that didn't belong to any voice. "The queen waits," the alien said. "She will explain." They walked through twisting hallways that felt like tunnels in a living creature. Doors opened on their own, closing silently behind them. Jack saw things. Tanks filled with glowing blue liquid, giant machines with spinning rings, strange symbols floating in the air. Everything was alien, yet something inside him felt drawn to it all, familiar. They reached a large chamber, a throne room. It was built like a temple, with tall pillars and flowing light above. And there at the center stood the queen. She wore no crown, but her presence filled the room like thunder. Her golden eyes locked onto his the moment he entered. Jack wanted to speak, to demand answers, but the words died in his throat. She stepped forward. "The mark is awake," she said, not out loud but in his head. "You saw things," she continued. "Visions, memories." Jack nodded slowly. "Yours?" "Some," she replied. "Others, older." He took a deep breath. "Why me? Why not one of your own? Why mark a human?" The queen looked up toward the ceiling. The lights dimmed. "There was a war before this one," she said. "Long before your people walked on Earth. We were gods then, and we fell." Jack listened carefully. Every word felt like a puzzle piece falling into place. "The mark was made to guide the future," she said. "But it needs a heart that is unclaimed, a soul that has lost everything but still chooses to fight." She looked at him now with something close to sadness. "You were dying, alone, ready to give up, and still, you crawled." Jack's voice was quiet. "So you saved me?" "No," she whispered. "I gave you a purpose." Before he could speak again, a loud alarm echoed through the room. Red light bathed the walls. The ground shook. The queen turned sharply. Her golden eyes flashed with anger. "They found us." Jack looked at her. "Who?" "My own kind." Suddenly soldiers poured into the room. Not human, alien, but different from her guards. Their armor was sharp, red and black, with a strange symbol carved into their helmets. They pointed their weapons at the queen. "Step away from the human," one of them said. The queen didn't move. "He carries the mark," the soldier said. "That is forbidden. Give him to us or be exiled forever." Jack's heart pounded. He looked at the queen. Her face was calm, but her fingers twitched like claws ready to strike. Jack stepped forward. "Why do they want me?" The soldier turned to him. "Because she broke the law. The mark must not bind to outsiders. It changes everything." Jack was done being silent. "You people are in a war," he said. "And you're fighting over a symbol?" "It's not a symbol," the queen said behind him. "It's a weapon." The soldiers raised their rifles. Jack didn't move. And then, the mark on his chest exploded with light. Everyone froze. The entire room was filled with energy. The soldiers backed away. Even the queen seemed surprised. Jack floated a few inches above the floor. His eyes glowed. Blue fire. His voice was no longer just his. "I am not yours to claim," he said. "And I will not be used." Then he collapsed. When he woke up again, he was back in the same floating bed. The queen sat beside him. "You activated it," she said softly. Jack wiped blood from his nose. "What did I do?" "You defended yourself," she said. The mark responded. He looked at her. "What happens now?" She stood up slowly. "Now, you learn what it means to be mine. The mark is changing me. I can feel her inside my mind." Jack hadn't slept in days, or maybe he had. He couldn't tell anymore. The ship had no windows. Time drifted like dust in water, slow and silent. But inside him, everything was loud. Too loud. The mark on his chest pulsed every hour like a second heartbeat. Sometimes it glowed without reason. Sometimes it burned like fire, and sometimes it whispered. Not in words, but in feelings. Pain, hunger, desire, power, and above all, her, the queen. He felt her even when she was gone. When he walked down the quiet alien halls, when he trained with her soldiers, when he stood alone in the chamber where she first marked him. She was there, in his head, watching. He wasn't sure anymore where his thoughts ended and hers began. One night, or what he thought was night, he stood alone in the mirror room. The walls were made of black stone that reflected him from 100 angles. But the reflection didn't look like Jack Mason anymore. His muscles were sharper. His veins glowed faintly with blue light. His eyes, once brown, now shimmered silver when he was angry or scared. Even his voice sounded different, like two people speaking at once. He looked at the mark on his chest. It wasn't just part of him now. It was him. He pressed his palm over it. "What are you doing to me?" The answer came before he finished the sentence. Not in his voice. Hers. "I am unlocking you." Jack stepped back from the mirror. "Get out of my head." Silence. Then the mirror rippled. Her image appeared behind his reflection. The queen. She was not in the room. Not physically, but somehow, she was present. "You think you were normal?" she asked. "I was human. You were limited." Jack turned away. "You stole my body. I gave it purpose." Later, he sat in the training hall with Commander Voren, the Queen's second-in-command. Voren didn't like Jack, but he respected him now. "You're faster than before," Voren said after their sparring match. "Too fast." Jack rubbed his shoulder. "I didn't even move. It moved me." Voren narrowed his eyes. "That's not good." Jack looked at him. "What do you mean?" "The mark has a will. It grows stronger. If you don't master it, it will master you." Jack laughed bitterly. "You sound like a Jedi." Voren didn't smile. That night, Jack woke screaming. His bed was soaked with sweat. The mark was glowing, bright, pulsing like it was alive. He had seen something in his dream, but it wasn't a dream. He saw the queen, standing in front of a dead world, her hands covered in blood. Around her lay millions of bodies, human, alien, young, old. Jack saw himself beside her, smiling. He stumbled out of bed, breathing hard. "No," he whispered. "That's not me. That's not who I am." The walls seemed to whisper back. Yet, it felt right, didn't it? He ran to the queen's chamber. The guards tried to stop him, but the mark flared and they fell back in fear. He burst into her room. She was meditating, eyes closed, floating above the ground. "You're showing me visions," Jack shouted. "Why? What do you want from me?" She opened her eyes. "You're remembering what the mark remembers." Jack stepped forward. "Then tell me the truth." She slowly floated to the ground. "The mark is not just a gift. It is a curse, a legacy. Every warrior it bonded with either changed the galaxy or destroyed it." Jack's voice shook. "And me? Which am I?" The queen walked to him. Her hand touched his chest. The mark pulsed warmly under her palm. That's what we're here to find out. In the following days, things worsened. Jack could hear thoughts, not just hers, but others too. Soldiers walking past him, whispering in their heads, plans, fears, secrets. He heard one alien think, "He will kill her one day." I saw it in a vision. Jack turned and stared at him. The alien froze and ran. He began lifting weapons with his mind, cracking steel with a single punch, floating above the ground in his sleep. Sometimes he spoke in the alien tongue without realizing, but the worst part wasn't the power, it was the desire. He wanted more. He wanted to see how far it could go. He wanted to see who could stop him. One day, he stood outside the Queen's private chamber. He didn't knock. The door opened by itself. She sat at her throne. "You're ready," she said. "For what?" She stood. "To leave this ship." Jack froze. "Why?" "Because your people are coming, and they think you've been turned." He stepped forward. "Then let me talk to them." "They won't listen," she said. "They're afraid." Jack lowered his head. "So we fight?" She nodded. "Or you convince them with power." Jack felt the mark burn. "What if I lose control?" he asked. "Then everything burns." Later in his chamber, he stared into the mirror again. He touched the glass. "I'm still human," he whispered. But the reflection didn't answer, because it no longer looked like him. "My people think I'm a traitor, but they don't know the truth." Jack stood on the edge of the alien ship's viewing platform, looking out into space. Beyond the dark glass, stars drifted like silent watchers. Somewhere far below, Earth still spun, still alive, still innocent, but war was coming. The Queen stood beside him, her golden eyes locked onto a growing shape in the distance. A fleet. Human ships. Dozens of them. "They found us," she said quietly. Jack nodded. "They'll want me back." The Queen tilted her head. "Do you want to go back?" Jack didn't answer, because he didn't know anymore. An hour later, alarms echoed through the ship. Sirens pulsed red along the walls. Soldiers scrambled into positions. Massive cannons moved into place. The ship prepared for battle. But Jack didn't move. He sat alone in a circular chamber, staring at a piece of Earth tech, a small communicator stolen from a wrecked shuttle. He'd hidden it since the day he was taken. Its battery was almost dead now, but when he turned it on, one light blinked green. A signal. He tapped into the secure frequency. "Commander Hale," he whispered. "This is Sergeant Jack Mason. If you hear me, I'm alive." The reply came an hour later. A familiar voice crackled through the speaker. "Jack? Jesus, Jack, we thought you were dead." Jack's throat tightened. "Not dead, not the same either." "Where are you? Are you a prisoner?" Jack looked around at the room glowing softly with alien lights. "No," he said. "It's worse than that." Silence. Then, "What do you mean?" Jack sighed. "I think I'm part of them now." He met the Queen in the war room. Dozens of maps floated in the air, glowing and shifting in real time. The human fleet was getting closer. "They'll hail us," she said. "When they do, I want you there." "Why?" "Because your face is the only one they might trust." Jack looked at her. "You want peace?" She turned to him, voice steady. "I want survival." The call came through. On the screen appeared Commander Hale, gray-haired, sharp-eyed, and battle-worn. Jack had served under him for 5 years. He had once called Jack the best soldier in his unit. Now his face looked cold. Wary. "Jack," Hale said. "Is that really you?" "Yes, sir." "You look different." Jack nodded. "I am." Hale looked past him, saw the Queen. His hand twitched near a control panel. "She has you under mind control?" "No." "Then why haven't you returned?" Jack took a breath. "Because I saw what you didn't." The Queen stepped forward. Hale tensed. She marked me, yes, Jack continued. But not to control me, to warn me. Warn you of what? That something worse is coming. Something bigger than this war. Bigger than her. Bigger than us. But Hale didn't believe him. No more tricks, he said coldly. We're coming aboard. If you resist, we'll destroy the ship. The U screen went black. The Queen looked at Jack. They will not listen. They saw me, Jack said. But they didn't see me. The next hour moved fast. Shuttles launched from the human fleet, heading toward the alien ship. Jack stood at the docking bay, heart pounding. For the first time in weeks, he saw human soldiers again, his old squad, friends, brothers. They stormed the ship with guns raised. Hands in the air, one shouted. Jack stepped forward. It's me. Jack? Their eyes went wide. His glowing veins, his silver eyes, the way the air around him shimmered with unseen energy. You. What did they do to you? Jack held out his hands. I'm not the enemy. One soldier, Marcus, Jack's closest friend, stepped forward. Then prove it, Marcus said. Stand down, come with us. I can't, Jack said. Why not? Because, if I leave now, everything dies. The moment broke with a flash. One human soldier panicked, fired a shot. Jack didn't think. The mark reacted. The bullet stopped mid-air, frozen. Then it dropped, harmless. The other soldiers stared. Jack's voice echoed. I don't want to fight you. Marcus looked scared now. You're not human anymore. Jack's face hardened. Maybe I'm more. Alarms blared again. The Queen arrived with her guards. Her voice rang out. You came with weapons, you broke trust. Marcus raised his rifle. She's controlling him. She isn't, Jack shouted, but no one was listening anymore. Fire erupted. Bullets and energy blasts, screams, smoke, and, Jack standing in the middle caught between both sides. He had a choice. He could run, he could fight, or he could become what the mark was meant to be. He closed his eyes. The mark exploded in light. Time slowed. Jack moved like lightning, dodging bullets, disarming men, knocking out guards without killing them. He was a shadow, a storm, a ghost. When the smoke cleared, everyone was on the ground, unconscious, breathing. Jack stood alone. Later, in the silence, he sat beside Marcus, who was waking up. You saved us, Marcus whispered. Jack nodded. Marcus looked at him with tears in his eyes. Then why does this still feel wrong? Jack didn't answer, because it did feel wrong. Everything did. He stood and walked back to the Queen's chamber. She was waiting. They will not forgive, she said. I know. You still want to protect them? Jack nodded. I will always protect them. She stepped closer. Even if they destroy you? Jack didn't blink. Yes. The Queen placed a hand on his heart. The mark pulsed. Then maybe, you really are the one. The mark was never meant for a human, but it chose me. The Queen's temple was silent, not with peace but with fear. Jack stood at the edge of a glowing pool, watching strange shapes move below the surface, memories stored in light and water. The chamber was old, older than Earth. Built before the Queen was born, built for the marked ones. Only 3 have survived the mark, the Queen said behind him. 1 became a god. 1 became a tyrant, 1 vanished. Jack didn't move. And now there's a 4th, she nodded slowly. But you were never meant to be chosen. Not a human. Jack turned to face her. Then why did it choose me? The Queen stepped forward, her voice quiet. Because the mark is not loyal, it is hungry. That night Jack dreamed again. He floated through space, pulled toward a dying sun. Planets cracked beneath him, voices screamed in every direction, and, at the center of it all stood a figure, a shadow made of fire and metal. It looked like him, but it smiled like a monster. The mark on its chest glowed red. Jack woke up screaming. Later, He sat with the Queen in the archive chamber, deep below the ship's core. Around them floated ancient scrolls, maps, broken weapons, and something stranger, bodies. Frozen in glass, old warriors who had carried the mark before him. One of them looked human, but older, twisted, burned by power. Jack stared at it for a long time. He didn't survive it, did he? No, the Queen said. He became it. Jack looked down at his chest. How do I stop that? You don't, she said. You fight it. Every day. The Queen opened a hidden vault. Inside was a living crystal shaped like a heart glowing with a dark pulse. This is the core of the first mark, she said. The original source. Jack stepped back. It feels alive. It is, she whispered. It remembers. As Jack approached it, the mark on his chest reacted. Pain surged through his body. His vision blurred. Suddenly he saw flashes of the past, a planet covered in gold towers, children born with glowing skin, a man with no face raising an army of marked warriors, and then fire, billions dying, the man laughing. Jack fell to his knees, gasping. What was that? The first. Marked one, the Queen said. He lost himself, and the galaxy paid for it. Jack gritted his teeth. That can't be me. She looked at him for a long time. Then prove it. Over the next days, Jack trained in silence. No soldiers, no distractions, just him, the mark, and the Queen's voice guiding him. He learned to move things without touching them. He learned to turn pain into energy. He learned to control memories that weren't his. But each victory made him feel less human. Until one night he couldn't take it anymore. I'm losing myself, he
said. The Queen placed her palm over the mark.
Then take it back. Jack looked into her eyes. Why do you care? She stepped closer. Because I marked you. And now? We're bound. Suddenly alarms rang out again. But this time it wasn't the humans. It was something else. The ship shook. Power dropped, lights flickered. A message played across the ship in an ancient language. The Queen turned pale. What is it? Jack asked. She looked at him, fear in her voice for the first time. They've awakened. Who? The architects, the creators of the mark. They appeared in the sky like shadows, ships with no engines, no sound, just black shapes that blocked out the stars. Even the Queen's guards fell to their knees when the ships came close. They should be dead, she whispered. They died with the first war, but they hadn't. They were waiting for the mark to return, and now that Jack had it, they were coming for him. He stood in the war chamber again, surrounded by chaos. The human fleet was retreating. The alien council had gone silent. No one wanted to fight the architects because no one knew how. Jack looked at the Queen. I'm the reason they came. Yes. Then I end it. She looked at him, pain in her voice. You might die. He smiled faintly. Maybe I already did. The Queen handed him a blade. It pulsed with the same light as the mark. This sword belonged to the only one who survived them. Jack took it. It felt right, heavy, but familiar. The Queen stepped closer, her voice trembling. If you fall, I fall with you. Jack looked at her for a long moment, then kissed her forehead. No, he said. You survive. You lead. She looked away. Don't say goodbye. I'm not, he said. Then he vanished in a flash of blue light. He appeared inside the architect's ship. It was silent. No crew, no walls, just light. Endless white light. And then, they came. Tall figures with no faces, no mouths, just eyes made of galaxies. You carry what was never meant to return, one of them said. I didn't ask for it, Jack replied. You bonded with it, they answered. Now it belongs to you. Jack raised the blade. Then take it from me. And the battle began. He didn't remember all of it. Only pain, only light, only screams of ancient things that should not exist. But he remembered one moment, when his mark turned from blue to white. Pure, whole, complete. He screamed, and the ship cracked. He fell into darkness. He woke up on the Queen's ship. She sat beside him, her face wet with tears. "You're alive," she whispered. Jack blinked. "Barely." She touched his chest. The mark was gone, or rather, it was inside now, no longer glowing, but part of him. "What happened?" she asked. "I ended the old story," Jack whispered. "And now, we write a new one. Earth will burn unless I stop what she started." Earth's skies turned red at dawn. Not because of war, not yet, but because the first architect ship, shattered and broken, had fallen into Earth's orbit, burning in pieces across the atmosphere. Everyone on Earth saw it. Civilians, governments, armies, and on every news screen, one image played, over and over, a single man floating in space, eyes glowing like stars, a symbol on his chest. Jack Mason. To Earth, he was no longer a soldier. He was a warning. Inside Earth Command HQ, voices shouted over each other. "He's not one of us anymore. That thing in his chest, it's alien tech. Do we even know if he's still human?" The president stood at the center of the chaos. "We saw what he did to the architects. What if he turns that power on us?" Someone suggested quietly, "Should we strike first?" Far away on the Queen's ship orbiting a hidden moon, Jack trained alone again. Not with weapons this time, with his mind. He could feel Earth's fear reaching him through satellites, radio signals, data streams. They called him traitor, abomination, threat. They had no idea he had saved them. He didn't care about the names, not anymore. What hurt more was that they were preparing to attack, and at the center of it all, Project Ashfall, a plan to launch a preemptive planetary strike, targeting not just him, but the Queen's ship and her people. Jack stormed into the Queen's chamber. Coming," he said. She nodded. "I know." "You knew this would happen?" She looked away. "The mark has always brought war." Jack clenched his fists. "You told me I could stop it." "You can." "Then tell me how." She stepped forward. "Let them strike." Jack stared at her, shocked. "Let them? Are you insane?" "They need to see their power fail." "Only, then will they listen?" "They'll kill you." The Queen touched his face gently. "Then protect me." Later that night, Jack sat alone in the quiet gardens of the alien vessel. He stared at the stars, thinking of Earth. He had family there once, a brother, a father. But even if they were still alive, they wouldn't recognize him now. His thoughts were interrupted by footsteps. It was Marcus, Jack's old squad mate, the only human who still dared come close. "They're serious," Marcus said. "Project Ashfall is ready. Earth Command wants your head." Jack didn't look at him. "I know." "You could run. I'm done running." Marcus sat beside him. "Then what are you going to do?" Jack looked up. "I'm going to stop a war, even if I have to start one to do it." The Earth fleet appeared in orbit 3 days later. Massive ships with heavy weapons, shields up, orders locked in. The Queen stood beside Jack, watching them approach. She was calm. He wasn't. "You said they need to see their power fail," he whispered. She nodded. "Just once." He closed his eyes. "Then I'll give them a moment they'll never forget." The battle began at 600, missiles fired. Energy beams lit up the sky. Jack flew through space like a storm unleashed. He didn't use weapons. He was the weapon. He redirected missiles into black holes he ripped from thin air. He shut down ships with a single thought, turning engines off mid-flight. He spared every life. But still, Earth kept firing, because they were afraid. Inside the command ship, the president watched Jack on screen. He was glowing, faster than light, untouchable. "Why won't he fight back?" someone asked. the president whispered. Because he's not the enemy. A general turned. Then who is? Back on the Queen's ship, a hidden threat revealed itself. A rogue alien faction, the Old Guard, blamed Jack for corrupting the Queen. They launched a surprise attack inside the ship. Explosions rocked the halls. Jack turned mid-battle, sensing the danger. The Queen was under fire. He left Earth's orbit in a flash, screaming through space like lightning. He reached the throne room just in time. Guards lay dead. The Queen stood alone, wounded, eyes glowing bright gold. But behind her, one of the Old Guard held a weapon, aimed at her back. Jack didn't hesitate. He raised his hand and time stopped. He floated into the room, walked past fire, past blood, past the scream frozen in the assassin's mouth, and stood beside her. "You're hurt," he said softly. "I'm alive," she whispered, "because of you." Jack turned to the assassin. "Who sent you?" The man couldn't speak, but Jack didn't need words. He touched the man's mind and saw it all, the plan, the fear, the prophecy. The marked one must fall, or the stars will burn. Jack let time flow again. The assassin dropped to the floor, unconscious. The Queen collapsed in his arms. He caught her gently, and in that moment, Jack knew. This wasn't about human or alien anymore. This wasn't about power. It was about choice. He looked at her, whispering, "I choose you." She smiled faintly. Then the galaxy might still have hope. Later, Jack returned to the edge of Earth's fleet. He appeared on every screen, every ship, every base, every station. His voice was calm, strong, human. "I was one of you. I still am. You think I'm a threat, that I've turned, that I've been changed. You're right. I have been changed, but not into a monster. I was given a gift and a curse. I used it to save you, and I'll keep doing that, even if you hate me for it. But if you strike, first again, I won't protect you from yourselves. Choose peace, or prepare to lose everything." And then he vanished, not into space, but into legend. She saved me. But now I can never go back. The galaxy held its breath. 3 weeks had passed since Jack's final message to Earth. No warships, crossed alien space, no missiles had been fired. But peace wasn't real. It was waiting for a crack, a reason, a mistake. And deep down, Jack knew. He was the reason. He no longer stayed in one place. Some nights he walked alone in the alien jungles of Varus Prime. Other times he trained under stars that no human had ever seen. Always moving, always listening, because something had changed. Theo. Mark was quiet now, too quiet. It no longer pulsed with heat or hunger. It just existed. But that silence wasn't peace. It was warning. The Queen called for him. He entered the throne chamber, where the light had dimmed and guards stood nervous. Something was wrong. She didn't smile when she saw him. Her golden eyes were cold. "They've broken the treaty," she said. Jack stiffened. "Earth?" She nodded. A small fleet crossed into the Forbidden Zone, testing the line. Jack's jaw clenched. "They're scared. They want proof. You're still human." He looked at her. "I'm not." The Queen stepped forward. "But you're not one of us either." Jack said nothing because she was right. He didn't belong anywhere now. Later, he stood alone in the observation dome. He watched Earth through a magnified lens, the clouds, the oceans, the lights of cities below. He whispered, "Do they even remember who I was?" Then he heard her voice. "They remember what they need to fear." He turned. The Queen had followed him. He didn't speak. She stepped beside him, close. "You've done everything you could to protect them," she said. "But they see your power, not your heart." Jack didn't look at her. "That's all power ever does. It erases who you were." "You can leave it behind," she said softly. "Stay here. Become something new. With me." He turned now, finally meeting her gaze. You saved me once. I'd do it again. But if I stay... Jack paused, pain in his voice. I'll never go back. She nodded slowly. Yes. Because the Jack they knew died the day I marked you. Suddenly, a high-pitched alarm screamed through the ship. Jack spun around. What is it? A hologram blinked to life. A human ship had crashed into a restricted zone, one protected by ancient weapons still buried beneath the surface. A doomsday system the architects had left behind. If it woke up, the Queen's voice was sharp. It will destroy the sector. Maybe more. Jack's blood ran cold. I'll stop it. You can't go alone. I have to. Jack flew to the surface in seconds. The crash site burned orange and black. Across the alien plains, smoke rose into the sky. He could hear the hum of old machines waking up. The air rippled. At the center of the crater stood a boy, barely 18. A pilot, bleeding, confused. Jack landed beside him. Don't move, Jack said gently. The boy aimed a shaky pistol. You're the traitor. Jack slowly knelt. No, I'm the one trying to stop this thing from killing you. Behind them, the ground split open. A tower rose from the deep, black ancient humming, the doomsday core. It had begun charging. Jack reached out with his hand, tried to shut it down, but the mark didn't respond. He screamed, he pushed harder, still nothing. Then he heard the Queen's voice in his mind. You're holding on too tight. Let go. Jack fell to his knees. It's not working. The tower's glow deepened to red. The countdown began. 60 seconds. The boy whimpered. We're gonna die. Jack stared at his hands. The mark flickered once, then dimmed again. I can't stop it, he whispered. Then, a shadow fell across him. The Queen. She had come. You were never meant to carry it alone, she said softly. She stepped forward and took his hand. The moment their skin touched, everything changed. Time stopped. The doomsday core froze. Light poured from the ground. Jack saw into her soul, and she into his. For one perfect second, they weren't human or alien, queen or soldier. They were just two hearts that refused to give up. And the mark responded. It glowed again, but not on him. On both of them. Split in two. Shared. Power without control. Fire without fear. They released it together, and the tower collapsed into ash. Later, Jack sat beside her as they watched the stars. His body ached. His eyes burned, but he smiled. You changed the rules, he said. She smiled back. So did you. He turned to her. They're going to ask for me again. She nodded. And this time? Jack stood slowly, looked out at the stars. This time, I don't go. The final message from Earth came 3 days later. We respect your decision. You've earned that right. And then silence. No more fleets. No more orders. Just quiet. Jack became something else after that. Not a king. Not a god, but a guardian. He helped rebuild the scarred corners of the galaxy. He taught peace through power, not fear. He became legend, not just to humans or aliens, but to both. But he never returned to Earth. Not because he wasn't allowed, because he had finally found where he belonged, with her. And when people spoke of the war, they never called him traitor again. They called him the Marked One.